Hello, I'm Denise LaFrance. Coming up on City Beat, you may have noticed a lot more orange barrels out on the streets. Las Cruces is investing more money in roads to help them last longer. Details just ahead. The Las Cruces Fire Department wants to remind you what fireworks are allowed in your backyard this 4th of July and what could land you a citation if you're not careful. It's a popular sport for the city of Las Cruces and one that continues to gain interest. We'll tell you more about the volleyball leagues and how you can sign up. And with the summer months comes an increase of mosquito bites. We have some tips on how to keep yourself bite-free and a look at what Zika virus is and whether it could become a factor this year. Hello and welcome to City Beat for the month of June. The city of Las Cruces is investing millions of dollars into local projects during the next few years in an effort to save millions more down the road. We're working on community investment projects, which include road construction, solar projects, and electrical upgrades. These projects come from hold harmless gross receipts taxes. CLC TV's Jennifer Martinez explains how you will see these projects take shape.
There are 500 miles of city roads to take care of, and this year the city has more money to invest into roads and other projects at one time than ever before.
The city has branded these projects as community investment projects. These projects will be funded using the hold harmless gross receipts tax bond funding. The city issued and sold bonds in late fall of 2015 in the amount of about $27.1 million. Approximately $12.6 million will be used for street improvement projects.
The city uses the Pavement Management System, or PMS, coupled with field surveying to identify which roads need to be updated. If you remember from a previous CLC TV story, red lines are roads that need work, green lines are new or recently treated roads. Within the next year and a half, you might see more construction than you're used to, because this funding is now in action.
What the city is doing is that we are reinvesting the hold harmless GRT back into our community. We have chosen projects that will save the city money in the future and also projects that will give us a return on our investment.
Reyes says the city will also change out old light bulbs for some new energy efficient ones.
An LED retrofit projects of all our arterial metered street lights on our major arterials and collectors in the amount of $1.5 million.
The city is also putting money into more solar technology. Something similar to the solar panels you see here on the upper parking structure at City Hall will soon be created at other facilities as well.
5 of these types of systems will be installed at various locations at a cost of about $2.4 million.
Those include the East Mesa Public Safety Complex, Sage Cafe, Las Cruces Regional Aquatic Center, Munson Senior Center, and the Las Cruces Convention Center.
We see an opportunity here to reinvest back into the community. We want to show the community that we are serious about getting projects done and want to make a difference in this community.
And the city hopes other investment projects like these will continue on a 5-year cycle. For City Beat, I'm Jennifer Martinez.
Thanks, Jen. If you would like to see a full list of the road construction projects that are expected to last through 2017, head to the city's website at las-cruces.org and click on the CIP Hot Topic link. If you're getting ready to beautify your lawn or property with yard work this spring, don't forget about the city's free mulch and Class A compost. The city's Class A compost is a byproduct of solid waste from the city's wastewater treatment plant. The solid component is extracted and made ready for use in home gardens and yards. You can pick this up for free at the Jacob Hands Wastewater Facility at 2851 West Amador. For more information, call 528-3597. The city also offers free mulch you can pick up at the Foothills Landfill at 555 South Sonoma Ranch Boulevard. It can be loaded onto trucks, trailers, or larger vehicles. The 4th of July is coming up soon and many people plan to buy fireworks. As you are aware, the city does have rules in place to keep our city safe from accidental firework fires. But that doesn't mean you can't have fun with fireworks. City of Las Cruces Fire Inspector Wally Monsivais explains.
In 2006, the City Council adopted the Safe and Sane Ordinance in hopes of reducing the potential fire dangers during drought conditions. The people that are affected is anybody within the city limits of Las Cruces. The weeks leading up to July 4th, we put out information, public information as to what is allowed, what isn't allowed. We're going to be posting on our Facebook page. But the best way to describe it to somebody is, if a firework is self-propelled, it's probably going to be illegal. Any firework that usually goes up higher than 3 feet is going to be considered illegal. The way when we inspect the firework stands, or we're looking at a firework, if the label on the firework states that it's more than 500 grams of black powder, it's going to be considered illegal within the city limits of Las Cruces. Typically, the way the ordinance is written, it is a petty misdemeanor, and an individual can be fined up to $500 and or including 90 days in jail. Safe and sane is the fact that we want to be safe and we want to be sane about using our fireworks. And when you set off fireworks, we ask people that they set them off away from buildings, typically 20 to 50 feet from any building, in a dry, barren area that's free of vegetation, and have a water source ready available in case something does get out of hand.
Thanks, Wally. Last year, $2,000 worth of illegal fireworks were confiscated by the Las Cruces Fire Department and 17 citations were issued. Las Cruces has a new fire chief who has stepped in last month as former fire chief Travis Brown retired after 27 years of service. The new chief, Eric Enriquez, returns to Las Cruces Fire Department after being away for 7 years working in Hobbs in various administrative roles, including fire chief. Enriquez says it's great to be back.
Oh, it's a great feeling. It's something I really didn't expect, but it's something that was always in the back of my mind that maybe I could someday come back home and be a part of the Las Cruces Fire Department again, and maybe walk away from here someday that I retired from the department that I started. So this is a dream come true. It's truly a blessing. I'm thrilled to death. My family's as well. We're very excited to be back in Las Cruces.
Thanks, Eric. Enriquez says a lot has changed since he's left. He's proud of the city's ISO rating of 1 and the increase in the number of fire stations and personnel. Also growing in the city is the interest for 6-on-6 sand volleyball. It's now one of the most popular sports leagues for adults offered by Parks and Recreation. We go to the sand courts at Mearshite to show you why teams fill up the slot so fast.
Well, we started off in 2010, and now with 16 teams, now we have 48 teams.
Well, I've played volleyball my whole life, and so, and my husband has actually played most of his life too, and so it's something that's really fun that we can do together, and through it, we've made a lot of friends that we wouldn't have come across otherwise.
There's teams that are whole families. You know, we get their kids too here, dads, you know, moms, you know, everybody's here. Grandmas come out and watch, and it's a family event.
When the game is over, everybody's really gracious and good sportsmanship and stuff, but yeah, we've been known to get pretty fired up.
Here we go! But again, it's fun, it's co-rec. You can't take it too serious because, I mean, it is competitive, but at the end of the day, you know, we're not playing for money. If we were, then we could take it that serious, but come out here basically just for fun.
I feel like we spend a ton of time running our kids around for their sports and their activities, But I think it's important to carve out a little bit of time for adults to kind of have a little recreational, fun activities of their own.
The leagues are $250 per team and can have up to 10 players. There is a women's league and co-rec league. Youth volleyball will be played in June. For more information, call 541-2563 or email athletics@las-cruces.org. The Animal Service Center of the Mesilla Valley is able to help save more lives this year with the help of its transport vehicle. Weeks ago, the center's vehicle was decorated with a wrap that was designed by a Las Cruces resident. The animals displayed on the vehicle were at one time animals at the shelter. The truck takes animals to other shelters across America that are in need of pets to adopt out.
It literally goes sea to shining sea, literally. He goes all the way to Oregon, and then he goes all the way over to Maine. We're working on Canada. I just don't have time. But they actually want our animals. There are Canadian shelters that knows about our transport, and they want our animals. And actually Canada will be shorter than Maine.
Dr. Betts says last year 1,700 animals were transferred out of Las Cruces. Some go in a different vehicle. This year they are averaging more than 200 animals per month being transferred. She says the most important message is to teach responsible pet ownership so vehicles like this would not be needed. Remember, June is Adopt a Cat Month. The 4th of July entertainment is scheduled for the Field of Dreams, and there are lots of movies in the park to get the family together. That and more in our City Minute. The Mayor's Jazz Fest kicked off music in the park this year, and throughout the month of June, Sunday evenings at Young Park, where the music will continue. Performances begin at 7 p.m., then the sounds move to Apodaca Park in July, still at 7 p.m. To see a full list of performers, go to las-cruces.org and click on the News tab at the top. Movies in the park also continues for Saturdays in July. Minions, Terminator Genesis, Pan, and Furious 7 are playing. You can see more about movies on the City of Las Cruces Facebook page or at las-cruces.org. Want to show off your float in this year's Electric Light Parade? You can pick up packets at the city's Park and Recreation Administrative Office at 1501 East Hadley. Those interested must return their information by 4 p.m. on June 24th. The Electric Light Parade takes place downtown on Sunday, July 3rd. This year's theme is Protecting Our Freedom. And Parks and Recreation staff are working hard to make sure you have a fun and safe 4th of July. You can come to the Field of Dreams on Monday, July 4th for a concert with R&B and soul artists Tony and country music star Jody Messina. With summer months comes mosquitoes. Mix the warm temperatures with monsoon rains, farm irrigation, and yard watering, and we have the perfect recipe for mosquito breeding. That brings with it the threat of disease. CLC TV's Udelvi Hill tells us about the threat of Zika virus to our area in this edition of Ask the.
Hello and welcome. Our guest for this edition of ASTA is Sandra Melman, an epidemiologist with the New Mexico Department of Health. Sandra, thank you for joining us on ASTA.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we're used to hearing about West Nile virus, and now we're talking about the Zika virus in Las Cruces. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Zika, it's the new disease on the news. It actually isn't a new disease. It was discovered in 1947 in Africa, but it just slowly made its way to the Americas. And it started causing big outbreaks starting in 2015 in Brazil, and from there it spread like wildfire throughout the entire continent. Now, West Nile virus is not going anywhere. We still have to be aware of West Nile virus, but Zika, even though it hasn't made it to the United States quite yet, the continental United States, it could come. So we should talk about it and know what it is and how it's transmitted.
Okay, very good. So what are the symptoms and how are they treated?
Well, the good news about Zika is that for healthy individuals, only about 1 in 5 will ever get the symptoms. So the virus comes into your bloodstream, normally by the bite of an infected mosquito, and only about 1 in 5 people will ever develop the symptoms. And those, for the vast majority of people, are going to be very mild. So headaches, fevers, conjunctivitis, where your eyes get red, a rash in your body, and maybe some body aches and joint aches, normally very, very mild.
Kind of like flu-like symptoms.
Flu-like and even milder than that. So a lot of people get it and don't even go to the doctor.
Okay, and that was my next question. Should you go to the doctor if you think you have Zika, or should you just write it out?
So the important thing about Zika is the devastating consequences it can have to the unborn babies. So as I said, adults and even children will probably get a mild disease if they get it at all. But the problem is, if you're a pregnant lady in your first trimester, apparently, more importantly, then the virus can go through the placenta to the baby and cause some devastating malformations in that baby. So yes, at this point in time, if you have traveled to an area where we know Zika is actively being transmitted, and you develop any of those symptoms, yes, you need to go to the doctor and we need to know.
Okay, so you're here talking with us now about this. What else is the Department of Health doing in New Mexico to get the word out?
Yeah, I mean, we're working really hard right now. We're getting the word out to the communities at risk. The problem with Zika is going to be if somebody travels to an area where Zika is transmitted, which includes some parts of Mexico, not the whole country. At this point, not the northern states in Mexico. So that's
the border area is kind of free
going
right
to
now.
Juarez right now is not an exposure. But going to the southern part of Mexico, going to Central America, going to South America, going to the Caribbean, those are areas at risk. So if you travel there, you were bitten by mosquitoes, even if you don't remember being bitten by mosquitoes and you come back, then you have to worry about, having been infected with Zika.
So what can we do here to prevent the spread of Zika?
Right, so what we're doing is we're spreading the word, make sure that people know that they could have been infected, and when they come back, they need to avoid being bitten by mosquitoes at all costs.
And you do that how?
Well, you wear your insect repellent. The other interesting thing about Zika is that it's not transmitted by our common or normal mosquito species here in New Mexico. It's transmitted by some invasive species called Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus, which are very remarking in that they're very dark black with white markings on them. Not only that, but they also like to bite during the day. They only feed on humans, so they're going to breed around humans. They're not going to be your irrigation ditch mosquitoes. They're not going to be your floodwater mosquitoes. They're going to be breeding in your homes, inside or around your house. Okay. And they're going to bite during the day. So you have to wear your repellent. Now the message is going to be all day long, not just dawn and dusk, all day long. If you have to make sure that you have your windows and door screens in good repair. So basically, don't let mosquitoes come into your house. Use your air conditioning as much as you possibly can. Just avoid being bitten by mosquitoes, especially if you've traveled and you have the symptoms.
Okay, all very good advice. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to mention one more thing.
Yes.
It not only can go from the mother to the unborn baby through the placenta, it can also be transmitted sexually, which is a new thing, a new discovery, kind of. And so every male that goes to an area of high risk of transmission and comes back needs to be aware of that, because if they have a pregnant partner or if they want to become pregnant with their partner, they have to protect their partners.
Very good point.
So we want to make sure that they practice safe sex or abstinence during the entire duration of the pregnancy, so that that virus doesn't go into the woman when she's pregnant.
Excellent advice. Thank you. Sandra Melman, epidemiologist with the New Mexico Department of Health. Thank you for joining us on
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure.
Thanks, Udell. We hope you can steer clear of mosquitoes, and if you notice a trouble spot, you can call our mosquito hotline at 541-2547. That's it for this episode of City Beat. Remember to tune in for live City Council meetings right here Mondays at 1 p.m. Plus, all archived meetings and programs can be found on clctv.com. Don't forget to like us on our Facebook page. Thanks for joining us. I'm Denise LaFrance.